I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mommy Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary. Well, welcome to Great Mother Speaks. I'm Tammy Taylor, your manifestation muse, and today,
you know, when you're learning an entirely different culture and you don't speak the language, there's a surrender to knowing there's a limitation to how much you're going to actually be able to absorb. Because the nature of learning and the authenticity of integrating the information is compromised. And so as a result, you just make a truce with yourself that I'm going to get out of this what I need to get out of this. And that is the truth that I've made with myself with Vedic astrology. And so I say that because it's timely with this Pisces full moon in Shatabisha Nakshatra. I always remember Shatabisha Nakshatra because Nakshatra, see, there we go. It's different culture, different language, and, you know, struggling to pronounce and everything. But Spirit always gives us what we need. And what I need is to remember the essential elemental truth of these constellations. There are 27 of them. Shatabisha is at the end of Aquarius and the beginning of Pisces. And so we're in a Pisces full moon in both the Western and the Vedic. But it's important in the Vedic to look at the nakshatras, particularly when we are talking about the moon. It's a lunar astrology, and these are lunar-based constellations. I always remember Shatabisha because when I first heard it, it sounded to me like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, those of you who are raised in the Baptist tradition like I was, you might recall who they are. They were the three wise brothers who would not bow down to the king of Babylon. And they were rewarded as a result. This is a great planetary fear at this time, to stand in one's truth of their divinity. And this nakshatra is such a powerful one because it speaks to the reward for doing so. And if you recall, you know, they ended up being really high respected officials of Babylon because their God was leading them through all the trials and tribulations of not bowing down to this king. And everybody was like, what? He's going to kill you. He threw them into a fiery furnace. You know, he didn't just throw them in jail, or he didn't just, have a death sentence where they were killed in some, way, that everybody could watch and be, even put on a cross like Jesus Christ. He threw them in a furnace, and Jesus came and walked them out. And so, all of this, we understand as mythology because we are so deep into what Great Mother says is and in translation from the Vedas too, is called, the sea of forgetfulness. It is not a judgment or condemnation. We came into this world for a reason. We are under the veil of forgetfulness for a reason. Forgetfulness of what? Of our divinity, in order for us to learn how to use our power. As a good parent, you give your child, a little leash, a little bit at a time, as they demonstrate their ability to maintain their lives. As long as they're safe, well, then we can loosen up a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And that's how we grow. It's the same thing with us, as above, so below. So this nakshatra is all about feeling that power. And we're in an age where we're being so blessed with so many powerful downloads that if you are not in tune with your divinity, it's freaking people out. And so they're using it in different ways. For example, we were talking about an MDT support group about how all of the mass murders and things that are going on, it's it's really about a confusion that people are having internally. It has nothing to do with the external world. That's our first impulse, is to externalize everything that's happening. Oh, it's because of this, it's because of politics, it's because of that. No, 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 no. All war begins within. And the inner war is, as Great Mother, through the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, guides us through a rebirth and a regeneration of our divinity, through the release of MDT identity, the shame, blame, and guilt of the abandonment and abuse of our birth mothers. We have to, as individuals, undergo this internal rebirth. And what is rebirth? Rebirth is a death of the old self. And so just like everything else, instead of sitting with that, we go into addiction, which is just another word for pain avoidance. We go into drug addiction, sex addiction, or just addiction to trying to control others, which the ultimate expression of that is murderous behavior, whether it is through the spoken word or through action, which we can also use as a very powerful, loving tool, action and the spoken word, to uplift and to encourage through the signs and symbols, just as the signs and symbols through this Vedic astrology, whether I understand Hindu or I understand Sanskrit or not, Spirit is going to give me what it needs to give me in order to use me as a vehicle to speak to whoever needs to hear what it's saying. For those who do want to go through this rebirthing process and going through the fire, as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did, they had to prove to themselves that they were worthy to rule Babylon. They were just humble believers in God. And that's what is meant by the meek shall inherit the earth. The humility goes through an experience of gaining the wisdom of knowing that it has a value to the world. And that's what this transition from the Piscean age of the Christ consciousness into the Aquarian age, which is about embodying the Christ consciousness as individuals. We live Christ consciousness as individuals. We live what he taught as individuals. In other words, we dance to the beat of our own drum, just like he did. He just showed us an example of how he did it, how he embraced his divinity and believed in his God, despite the what they call them, the Sadducees, the Pharisees and the Sadducees were against him. The high priests were against him and his teaching of the great Father. And so we are coming into that, and Great Mother, Father God are injecting us and the planet with the power to do it. But if we don't know what we're being injected with, we are interpreting it as fear, because we are so filled with fear due to this sea of forgetfulness that we're in, that has got us in this addiction to external manifestation of Great Mother, Father God, as opposed to the internal. So this is all about us connecting with that during this season. The full moon is in Pisces in both the Western and in the Vedic astrology. And as we know, Pisces is the teetering, tottering slope that we walk between delusion and enlightenment, between self-deception and self-awareness. The Leo new moon, Great Mother did an extended introduction about what this season leading up to January 2020 is all about. So if you want to check that out, there is a link in the information box below. This full moon, Great Mother wants to bring our attention to the Vedic aspect of this season with this full moon in Pisces, in the Vedic and in the Western. Now, what's interesting is that in the Vedic astrology, Neptune, as opposed to in the Western astrology, being in Pisces at this time, creating a great deal of delusionment and difficulty with that dance, with awareness. In the soul astrology, are the cosmic astrology as opposed to the geocentric, earth-centric ego astrology that is basically the tropical astrology that's focused on our egoic experience, our ego reaction to life. In the soul astrology, we're actually looking at how, why, when, and for what purpose the soul incarnated. Neptune here is in Aquarius, and so this period of time has to do with what the collective consciousness is undergoing in terms of its internal dance between illusion and awareness around humanity, around what it wants to collectively contribute on a soul level to this transitional phase between the Piscean age and the Aquarian age. This is why this particular period is so intense. So what Great Mother wants to focus on in this introduction to your full moon Pisces reading is the idea that you, from a soul perspective, are looking toward the future at this particular time, or you're looking in the past at this particular time, at yourself, at your experience at this particular time. And you're either saying, wow, I am really living up to my greatest soul potential at this time to free myself from the bondage, from the attachment to forgetfulness of my divinity, forgetfulness of my soul essence, forgetfulness of my birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. I am releasing myself from that forgetfulness. I'm doing my level best as a conscious being to do that. Or I am overwhelmed by the challenges of doing that. And either way, Great Mother is inviting us to receive the eternal grace and mercy that is available to us, particularly as the planet is experiencing the disorder of mama drama trauma, which this channel focuses on to heal. Mama drama trauma being that condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto the child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. And in cases where she's unwilling, unable, and unavailable, she may have transitioned to heal her own MDT. Loving detachment is necessary for the child to live a happy, healthy, and whole life. In other words, for us to fully embrace our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. Living in loving detachment is necessary to do that. So the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck was channeled for us to have a daily practice of releasing ourselves from that bondage of attachment to the toxic mama experience, the forgetfulness that the drama engenders about our divinity, and the trauma that we experience as a result, the dissociative experience from our soul that keeps us in bondage. So the opportunity this full moon is to, from the tropical perspective, look at the harvest of the year. This has been a very intense year with Saturn and Jupiter in retrograde and the eclipses that we've had in the most powerful in Vedic astrology nodal position of Gemini in the North Node and Sagittarius in the South, because it has to do with that human intelligence of the ego in the North Node evolving through awareness and the release of old attachments to old ways of connecting with the divinity, with that Sagittarius in the South, based on experience. Wisdom is based on experience, what we learn through our own experience, as opposed to the intelligence of Mercury, which rules Gemini, that is based on an ability, an ego ability to figure things out. And so they work well together when understood. But when wisdom is held as the greater virtue, then we actually are evolving. We actually are growing. And so with Sagittarius being in the South Node, conjunct Saturn, conjunct Pluto, we have this opportunity to do a tremendous amount of release of old spiritual beliefs and practices that no longer work for us, such as toxic beliefs about sin, the idea that we are separate from God. That is a very old religious teaching. And it no longer serves us as we move into an Aquarian age that is about being very clear about our divinity. Now, speaking of clarity about divinity, not everyone survives deity initiation. And that is what we're talking about. Let us be clear. We are talking about divinity initiation, an initiation into a conscious ego-soul alignment. So this full moon is an illumination with regard to where you are with that. Great Mother wants you to be very clear about where you are in relationship to that, in relationship to your soul and what your soul wants to do at this particular time about that in your life as it relates to mama drama trauma, the foundation of all relationships in your life. In our relationships, just like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, who is the poster child of mama drama trauma, each card is based on a scene in the Wizard of Oz. Along that yellow brick road journey, that hero's journey to embracing our divinity, that journey, that rites of passage to deity initiation. Because, of course, when we return home, we return to peace. We return to our true self. So this return to self requires a rebirth. It requires this dark night of the soul, which for us, being mama drama trauma, most of the planet, most people won't admit it. It is a taboo subject. But during the Aquarian age, it will become more and more prominent as an issue to be addressed. There's a reason there's an increase in suicides. There's a reason there's an increase in drug addiction. All of these are just forms of pain avoidance. And this is what is meant by not everyone survives deity initiation. Many people do not believe because they do not know that they're divine beings. They think because of the attachment to forgetfulness, attachment to the illusion of this experience, and we incarnate into this material experience in order to have the veil over our eyes, as Dorothy had the veil, the believing that Oz was the god of all gods, until she took the witch's broom, which taught her that she had the power to take her power back from an idea of an externalized God. Great Mother, Father, God is us, within us. And this is a scary thought for a culture from a planetary collective consciousness that believes it's separate from God. That's a scary thought, let alone something to integrate into one's consciousness. So we are what the Christ called a peculiar people. We know that we are in this world, but we are not of it. And so this is a little spoken word that is payment and homage to what Great Mother is inviting us to do in terms of looking at this placement of where we are. Consciousness ascends and consciousness, it forgets. We evolve. The Kundalini awakens and the Kundalini goes to sleep. We are living, breathing beings who we have periods of active conscious awareness and growth and periods of rest and fallowness, just like the soil. So that's why we learn first and foremost about our divinity identity, that we are dearly loved children of the great Mother, Father, God, who are never judged, condemned for that. Because just like the seasons, that's just like saying, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're, slowly moving into fall, although the planet is heating up and is on fire and all of these things that are happening because of our forgetfulness. There's no judgment or condemnation. There is awareness. There's a difference. And it's a very important distinction to make. There is awareness that what we're doing is either fortifying the experience of our divinity or it is detracting from it. And we get to make the free will choice. Some say, and particularly in Vedic astrology, that we do not have free will. But it is said within the context, I would hope, I understand the belief of no free will within the context of we are given the choice in our experience. We get to experience making choices so that we know if we choose to go into the direction of what does not reinforce our divinity, such as burning down the rainforest and therefore setting our entire environmental equilibrium off, is not beneficial. We get to experience that so that we learn it. Again, wisdom being the hallmark of divinity. We learn through experience, which is why we're not judged or condemned. It doesn't make sense to believe in a God that judges and condemns you for coming here to have experience. How can you have experience if you don't get to choose? So in this life, we do get to choose. It's just that in the arc of eternity, there is just one consciousness, and that is the consciousness of love. And that is what they're talking about. And since it's difficult for most people to even grasp what is being discussed here, they just go ahead and jump to the end of the story that there is no free will. It's all, love. But step by step, yes, within lifetimes, that's how we gain experience. That's how we gain wisdom about what love is. We have to learn it through experience. Great Mother's inviting us to recognize at this particular stage in our lives with this Pisces full moon in both the Western and in the Vedic, what we are choosing. Are we choosing to go away from our divinity, feeling and experiencing being dearly loved, never judged or condemned, or left alone? Or are we continuing to engender those experiences, such as mama drama trauma, in particular here with your full moon reading, that you are detracting from that experience? Which one is it? Because within this season, there are a lot of transits that are being discussed. And one specifically with the Vedic, just like Great Mother in her extended introduction, with the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in the Western astrology that has captured the imagination of astrologers. In the Vedic astrology, we are having the Gemini move from Purnavasu into Ardra Nakshatra, and we're having Sagittarius move into Mula, which is the center of the cosmos. It's the nakshatra that is the center. It's the heart, the cosmic heart of the cosmos. It is Great Mother. It is the primordial womb. And so the primordial womb is going to receive for us what we are willing, ready, and able to release. And so that's why Great Mother is wanting us to know at this particular time, those of us who are working with releasing mama drama trauma, the blame, shame, and guilt, feeling the cause, feeling that we can cure, feeling that somehow we can control mama drama trauma, and releasing all of that dysfunction is going to be tremendously supported, especially as we have in November Jupiter moving into Sagittarius as well. So lots and lots of cosmic support for us. The spoken word that I would like to share with you is this: child, mother, father, teacher, parent, scholar, a pence, a pound, a dollar, a month, a day, an hour. Years, decades, scores. Work, hobbies, chores. A house, a window, a door. Beginning, middle, end. Whole, half, empty. Physiology, biology, anatomy. Plant, seed, soil. Sun, rain, earth. The planetary galactic search. Olmec, Toltec, Aztec, Cholula, Pyramid, Sphinx. Ego, soul, spirit, the initiation, communication, conduit. Maya 2012, the whole world, into it. Crazy, sane, normal, casual, everyday, formal. The known, unknown, and unknowable. Mystery, intrigue, certainty. Past, present, future. Galaxy, planet, light year. Stellar procession, sacred. Man, woman, offspring. Bound, insecure, free. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Night, noon, morning. Sacred, science, faith. Time, space, location. You are blessed, wanted, needed. Breathe, inspire, intention, purpose, reason. Cave, hut, house. Master, worker, slave. Moon, stars, sun. 3, 2, 1. Eternal divine self. Present, future, past. First, late, last. Dawn, day, sunset. And these are your Pisces. Shatabisha full moon readings.
Sagittarius moon sign people, in the center of your spread is Baba Yaga, throat chakra, new moon energy of the wild woman. So the heart of this Pisces full moon for you has to do with getting out of the box. Getting out of the emotional box, getting out of the mental box that keeps you locked in a sense of self-judgment and condemnation that drives you to catastrophize about things, or that drives you to be rebellious in ways that don't serve you. You know, rebellion can serve us as we heal from MDT when it's focused. And Great Mother is telling us that for this Pisces full moon, we are focusing on expanding our awareness as opposed to that self-criticism that creates these non-self-serving, shall we say, knee-jerk reactions. Okay, and so when we have MDT, shame, blame, and guilt, it's all about feeling like we're a burden to other people. Because, of course, when our mothers neglect us, reject us, or, abandon or abuse us, we're a mess. We are ungrounded. And I see that you have root chakra energy here, which is all about grounding and safety and security. You have, second chakra energy here, which is about, feeling grounded enough to aspire to your own aspirations and your own friendships outside the family tribe, and your own desires, your own family. You're procreating your own children. That's second chakra, sacral energy. And these lower heart below chakras are what I call the conditioning chakras. And they're not just conditioned in this lifetime, but over many lifetimes, because the soul is what activates our life. It's what animates this physical body. And the wheels of the chakras turning is what generates that life in this physical body. When those wheels begin to slow down and they stop, that's the death process. Okay, so we're alive this Pisces full moon, right? And you have new moon, fifth chakra energy. Fifth chakra is all about being and speaking your truth, that higher will, that heart above chakra energy. So we want to focus that with awareness as opposed to knee-jerk wild woman energy. Let's see. Great Mother's saying that for this reading, what's in your shadow position is Pele. Awakening to your emotional sense of self. Awakening to who you are. Are you lining up with the shame, blame, and guilt in ways that create unsatisfactory results in your life due to knee-jerk reactions as we catastrophize things? It could be the smallest thing. I mean, the other day I had to call, Apple support for, issues with iMovie and editing and whatever. And I was just in a state about, the whole thing. And, it just turned out to be a technical issue that I needed to address in terms of some of my content, how I was, putting it together and stuff. And I just had to stop and realize that was kind of what I was doing. And I was also being rebellious and not in the beginning wanting to listen to what the person was saying, because I thought they were just trying to sell me some more stuff or whatever. But it was really about, okay, how do you want to use your technology? You can do this, you can do that. You have options. And so she's saying in your shadow position, are you aware that you are awakening? Okay, so maybe some of the anxiety that you're feeling, or excitement. It could be excitement, not necessarily anxiety. Sometimes we can get really excited, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that are overwhelming us. We can be overwhelmed by opportunities. We can be overwhelmed by a lot of good stuff happening because, Sagittarius, you are in your sati sati right now, but that means you doing your emotional work, staying in alignment with your soul, you're getting blessed as a result of that. If you're not doing your ego soul alignment work, this 7-year period of your moon yogas, when Saturn is in your 12th house of Scorpio, which it has moved out of as of 2017, and it has been in Sagittarius since then, and is about to move into Capricorn next year, or rather 2018, there have been some real hard emotional times. But if you've been doing your emotional work, these hard emotional times have been met with a lot of blessings for the amount of truth that you've been reckoning with regard to your MDT. And so in your shadow position, you may not be aware that either this intense anxiety that you're feeling is as a result of still living in MDT, shame, blame, and guilt. Or you may not be aware, because it's in your shadow position, that the excitement that you feel that has a tinge of anxiety is because there's so much that you're being blessed with, that you're being shown. And it's because you are aligning more with your divinity identity. That's what happens with divinity identity. Sometimes souls get overwhelmed with the potential of our power, and so we stay in a smaller state than divinity. We stay attuned with MDT because we know that devil. We don't know what's going to happen with this angel of divinity. It's unpredictable. Some souls prefer to live predictable lives until we gain enough confidence to move forward. This is your time to decide that moving forward. This is a very decisive phase on the planet. And your collective unconscious in the Sagittarius moon sign is all about releasing. It's very powerful release with K2 in Sagittarius right now. It's conjunct Saturn, which is about to go direct when Jupiter is about to enter in December. So yeah, and you're in your sati sati. Yeah, it's a lot going on. And so you're at the crossroads, Sagittarius moon sign people, of embracing divinity identity and letting go of MDT. This is what Hecate, this fifth chakra energy, is about. It's about that higher will, that being and speaking your truth. So this past summer, eclipses and all of that, all of the emotional stuff that has been coming up with all of these powerful energies on the planet, what this has meant for you is an acknowledgement of your MDT. So those of you who are listening, you have acknowledged that you do have this condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto you, causing emotional and or physical abuse. So your mama drama trauma is really clear at this particular point. The issue that you're dancing with is self-doubt about, am I going to be able to deal with this? Do I have the capacity to deal with this? Again, if you are not doing the soul work of releasing MDT and embracing in the process divinity, or there's a self-doubt on the confident end of, am I doing this right? My future is not clear, but I am seeing that I'm getting blessed, but I don't know exactly what direction this is going. So it's that kind of dance that's going on right now. And Great Mother is saying that it's okay right now to have challenges and have revelations about how to use your power and how to use your energy. You have to experiment with how you're going to be moving forward. You know, we see here with Ishtar, the prostitute card, this is a full moon second chakra energy. How are you living your desires? Yeah, you do have to go on dates before you find, someone that you want to settle down with. You do have to test the waters, so to speak. And that's what Piscean energy is all about. Second chakra is ruled by Jupiter, which rules Pisces in the Vedic. And so those deep oceanic waters, scaling those emotional depths so that you give of yourself in a way moving forward that serves you, as opposed to staying in that darkness, in that limited space that you can no longer withstand even if you try to. So that's a futile effort anyway, because presently it shows that most of you are with this Isis full moon energy. I mean, you got full moon energy on blast here, so root chakra Isis self-mothering is all about that self-soothing, all about giving yourself what you need in acknowledgement that you're not going to get it from your birth mother. She's not able, willing, ready. She's not available. Maybe she's transitioned. Maybe you were adopted. It's not happening. And so you're getting it from yourself. And so that kind of reckoning, that kind of truth integration is traumatic. So it's trauma on top of trauma. First, the drama of the experience of MDT, and then to have to come to the realization that it is what it is. So I'm going to have to, if I want to get the love that I need to mother myself, you're there. And Great Mother is confirming that that is where you are. So what needs to be let go of is anything that doesn't align with your divinity identity. Here in the law of destiny and free will, you are on your path to fulfilling your destiny. Whether this period, the 7-year period, which is what it means in Sanskrit, 7 years of Saturn, Sati Sati, 7 years of Saturn in your moon sign. Who is Saturn? Saturn is the cosmic school teacher that is checking our attendance when we incarnate, and checking up on our files, our Akashic records, as to why we incarnated. And it is only concerned with assisting us in doing what the soul came here to do. And in this period on the planet, mama drama trauma is a planetary disorder. All souls that have incarnated to heal from this. Very few have the capacity to do the work at this particular circa era in time. But increasingly, as we move toward the Aquarian age, it is a rites of passage into self-realization. This is self-realization 101, healing mama drama trauma. So you are ahead of the pack, and in your what needs to be let go position, this Pisces full moon, Pisces, remember, this is the age that we're at the end of, the Piscean age. Over the next 250, 300 years, we're moving into the Aquarian age. And so you are planting seeds for your progeny, be it the children you birth,
or the people you influence who are also souls that have influence to other souls. It's a ripple effect of your destiny, your free will to follow this destiny of living a life beyond MDT, which is activated by you owning your divinity identity. That's double yang, single yin energy. That's third quarter moon, third eye energy. That is releasing those things that do not align with your soul purpose. Getting back to the center of this spread, Baba Yaga energy, it's a wild new moon energy. It's a wild energy that sees through the darkness using its inner eye. That is the only way we see through the darkness, is with our third eye. We align our outer sight with our third eye. And that's what Great Mother is saying about this full moon, is growing in awareness of what our thoughts are about our emotions. And so our emotions that are traumatic with regard to mama drama trauma, suddenly with the embrace of divinity identity becomes ecstatic. And that's some of what you're feeling in that shadow position, Sagittarius moon sign people. That anxiety, that anxiousness, it's that transition. You're making that transition and your soul is excited. Your ego is like, what the hell's going on? And Great Mother's giving this message to you because your hidden influences are Pachamama. Pachamama card is all about leaving a bad situation behind. You are leaving mama drama trauma behind by connecting with Earth Mother energy, the ground, sea, trees, fairies. You're probably spending more time than you usually do outside, or connecting more than you usually do with probably planting or gardening or natural things, organic food. You might be walking barefoot more often. You finally finish the deck, and so you're sitting outside breathing fresh air more than you used to before you had the deck, and that's why you got it, so you could sit out there or whatever. If you're not doing that, Great Mother is saying that these are hidden influences that will support you in this transition if you do that. Because that's what's going to calm that anxiety of the ego down to more comfortably make this transition to divinity identity. Now, what you are embodying in this process is mind, body, soul alignment. And so this is a conscious alignment. This is third eye, beautiful lavender card energy, gibbous moon energy, this gratitude, this thanksgiving for this sharing of this boon of evolution. Sati Sati is traditionally a very feared time in Jyotish astrology, but the understanding is often overlooked, just as mama drama trauma, just as anything that has to do with soul evolution is easily overlooked when we come under the veil of this material experience. We forget who we are. We forget that we're resilient. Great Mother, Father God, they never see us as anything other than. They never see us as victims. They never see us as weak. They never see us as, oh, my poor baby. That's not how they see us. They see us as powerful divine beings. That's why they're gods and goddesses in this deck. They're our brothers and sisters. Just like Jesus said, we are joint heirs with him. What does that mean? We're siblings. We the ones who forget it. And so that's why Great Mother's speaking, for us to remember it. This full moon is happening in your fourth house of the mother. And so this is the moon, this is the lunar time of the year, Sagittarius moon sign people, where these emotions really come up for you. And look at how much work you've been doing since your Sati Sati to heal this. And Great Mother's coming through, and she's saying that you're embodying this mind, body, soul alignment. You may not realize it. It does feel awkward. It does feel a little strange. And for many of you, it feels really exciting because it's like, oh, well, I finally have let go of so much of that stuff. I've been doing my inner work. I've been doing my coaching inner work assignments, and I've been really paying attention to how I'm defining, establishing, and maintaining my boundaries. You've done all this through soul surrender. This is the Yemiya. If you haven't been doing this work and you haven't worked with me or someone else, which is really needed, this is group work. No one heals MDT alone. I didn't. Oprah Winfrey didn't. Anybody who's healed from MDT, Jan Levanzit didn't. We do it in group. That's just the way it is. And so whoever you're working with or you need to work with, in your immediate future, Great Mother is saying soul surrender is a part of this healing process. It's surrendering to the fact that you cannot control those addictive conditioned behaviors that keep that knee-jerk catastrophizing happening. We know when we do it. We know when we are trying to be controlling, because it's a hysterical feeling in the body. The body is so nervous that, sometimes we start shaking, or the palms start sweating, or, the eyes start twitching. It's that kind of thing. And so in order to embody mind, body, soul harmony, if you're not, the soul surrender is required. And if you are embodying it, you are, because you have done the soul surrender work to say, hey, I have no power over these addictions. Al-Anon, those of us who have addictive mothers, and MDT, that's common. This stuff is normal. It's no big deal. It's what it is. We learn that we cannot control, we cannot cure, and we certainly did not cause mama drama trauma. It's like we don't cause her to drink or do drugs. We can't control whether or not she does. We try to take care of our mothers from a child in an effort to, by proxy, take care of ourselves. Because we needed our mothers as children. We needed them to act right, to get up and take us to school. But if they were hungover or whatever, we had to modify the situation. And a lot of times we start fibbing and telling people things, and that codependent behavior to protect her so that she's not taken away. All of these things create this kind of catastrophizing and knee-jerk reactions because we've suppressed so much over a period of time. And so Great Mother's advice to you is to recognize that victimhood lives in you somewhere still. And even so, you can create the life that you want now that you are aware that you have the power to do so. You didn't know as a child that you had the power to do that. You were just trying to survive. That's heart below chakra energy. No tea, no shade, no judgment, no condemnation. It is what it is. That's why we know we've healed MDT when we have let go of the mother we want in order to accept the one we have. Let go of the birth mother that we want. Let go of the fantasized mother that she should be and this and whatever. This is not who she is. Let her go. It's not your fault. You're not a victim as a result of that. Whatever happened as a result of that were opportunities for you to now see these are areas of soul growth for me. If I feel victimized in terms of alienation and feeling alone, that's an area in my divinity I really need to work on. Connecting with my angels, my guides, and my ancestors. Because I'm not alone. Those are things to assert to create a true new grounding in yourself with the second chakra, Piscean, Jupiter ruled energy. Because remember, Jupiter is about to move into your moon sign the first week in November. So get ready to benefit from the energy as opposed to it throwing you off kilter as it conjuncts K2 and Saturn. This is Great Mother's message before that time. Now, these may be my last readings, actually, and for a couple of months as a result, because she's saying everything. I didn't know why she wanted to do this 15-card reading, but sometimes she has a reading, and then it's just that until the transits activate within you, and you have your own sense of what's going on until you get another reading. That's why we're doing the class for the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. So you can do your own readings. The decks are free. I hope I still have some more. I don't know if anybody's ordered since I've been doing this reading. I just had a few more decks left. But the tutorial is from November 3rd to December 22nd. Once a week. Choose Sunday or Monday. 7 Eastern Standard Time. And you learn how to do your own readings. You get your own deck. It's a gift from Great Mother. You might want to do that, Sagittarius Moon Sign people. You have here, in the possible outcome of doing this work, Adi Shakti, second chakra energy, that Jupiter again. We're going to be talking about the signs and all of these symbols on the deck. Primordial womb energy is just getting caught up into circumstances and situations. Again, kind of like that knee-jerk situation. But it's out of a good intention. You started off with a good intention. Like, I start off with a good intention to do the readings, and then I had all these problems with Apple and iMovie and everything, and then it takes me to a whole different situation, and then I'm knee-jerking about the catastrophe. Great Mother is saying that that's a possible outcome, but the thing is, and what I learned through my experience, it is an Adi Shakti energy in terms of creating what I wanted. What did I want in that situation? Did I want greater understanding so I could be more efficient moving on in the future? Or did I want to stay in a stuck place, blame, shame, and guilt with Apple, that I wasn't able to do what I need to do right now? You know, what's the deal here? And that is what this scene in The Wizard of Oz, these cards have symbolic resonance with Dorothy, the poster child of Mama Drama Trauma. This is the scene of the Twister dream. This is when you know that you've done all that you can do, and you just relax into the situation and let the signs and symbols speak to you with regard to your divinity identity, standing and knowing that you're already loved, you're not judged, you're not condemned, you're not alone. When I stood in that, I realized there was something I needed to learn from the Apple Tech guy to help me. And when I opened up to that twister just started to fade away, and I landed in the Technicolor world of Munchkin Land. Okay, ready to get back on my yellow brick road and finish it and have these ready to upload for you for the full moon. That's what Great Mother's saying is the very likely outcome of doing this work for you. And the long term of doing this work, you have Sophia in the new moon position of inner wisdom. You're going to garner so much inner wisdom due to this self-awareness practice that you're going to always know what path to take intuitively. And so there won't be, not that you second guess, so much, but that the self-doubt that has come up in terms of your dance, that again won't be so much about questioning yourself as opposed to questioning the situation, because you know who you are. You know you're a divine child. What is this situation here to give me? How is this situation here to bless me? How is this person here to bless me? Is more of the long-term inner wisdom that you're operating from, and the intuitive direction that you take in your life creates the ultimate outcome of living according to the law of soul guidance and guardianship, that Christ consciousness that knows that you're a joint heir with Christ, that knows that you too are here to live in eternal grace and mercy, as opposed to the old law, the Old Testament of judgment and condemnation. That you too have the capacity to imbibe a sense of appreciation for what you receive, the heart wisdom that you receive, and to operate based on that by releasing all that does not align with that. So that's Great Mother's message for you this Pisces full moon. Hope to see you in the class. If not, I'll see you next time, hopefully. Thanks for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks. I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon.